Hey guys, Akariss here, bringing you another Fire Emblem Heroes video. This one being a bit of a contrast to yesterday's video, which was more focused on the worst stuff. So today we'll cover the best stuff. But instead of looking at the weapons, we're going to look at seals today. And this should really help you kind of target where exactly you want to spend your sacred coins and which seals are really good in today's game. So with that being said, sit back and enjoy, folks. Alright guys, so here we are. This is the best sacred seals so far in 2021 video. I'm gonna cover, like, to preface this, of course, there are so many sacred seals and it's hard to really go over all of them. I'd say most things have a purpose. Like, you can really you can get even stuff, you can get value out of like low attack or speed seals, anything like that. But I'm going to cover like the most impactful and probably the ones you should invest into. And this video is going to cover multiple modes in the game, Aether raids, offense, defense, PvE, and arena. I'm going to cover all of that, and I'm going to give you some of my best suggestions that you should invest your sacred coins into to really, you know, take advantage of this. So of course we have Fallen Ike here, and that's probably to no one's surprise. Quick Riposte is what makes this particular build really good, because otherwise he kind of like struggles against impact, and by not being able to use null follow-up in the B, Quick Riposte is kind of like your soft null follow-up. As you can see over here, I am covering Aether Raids offense seals with what I believe to be the best ones at the top, like pretty good value in the middle, and you should probably situationally use the ones below that. So obviously Quick Riposte works as like a soft null follow-up, or for units that can't even use null follow-up, in the case of armors or flyers, for example, it's a pretty good seal for sure. Attack speed solo is great as a seal for you Brunya users. You'll know right away exactly why that's good. And distant guard is probably like the best seal you can give to a support unit, because there's so many range nukes, and 4 defense and 4 res is a lot of stats to cover a lot of bases. With that, you know, with those other seals there, like Fort Defense Res, Life and Death, that's for soaking from tanks that don't want to get hit by debuffs, like Ashnard, who's been covered a few times. Swift Sparrow for PvE, Panic Ploy for support, Iod Shield for like flyer tanks, or just counter pick flyers like Brave Micaiah or Bridal Micaiah to maybe take a hit from a bow cav and like retaliate kill. Flashing and heavy, of course, to cover Gale Force strats. So those are, I'd say, like the most impactful you should consider for sure for AR offense. But yeah, let's move on, because AR offense isn't exactly like the first thing I would recommend investing into. It's important, but more or less it comes down to just good preparation, good unit choices, and good support to execute with a bunch of strategies. Like, you don't really need to super focus on the seals. They're good, but they're probably not the first place I would invest seals into. What I want to cover next actually is Aether Raids defense, and there it matters a lot more. First up, I'll cover Eldigan here. The best seal for sure, if you haven't already upgraded it, is Fortress Defense. You could technically run Fortress Defense Res, but there is one less point of defense there, and when the check between Eldigan and Mila matters so much, every single point of defense matters. If you could even run Fortress Defense Res 3 on the A slot for the extra defense, of course adding merges to Eldigan, that all goes a long way into making him more resilient to getting isolated from Mila, who is like the biggest problem to a lot of dark defenses. So this is specific to dark defense, of course, and that's why Fortress Defense ends up being one of the most important seals, because you really want to compete with Mila. You could do the same thing somewhat with Olivia, and if you had Hell on the team, providing that extra defense buff, for sure. It becomes a lot easier and less important. But you'll see that a lot of the other seals that I'm recommending are more like mobility based, because mobility is huge. Like Ground Orders on Eldigan, for example, is really good. And of course, Mira, for example, Aerobatic Seal, Guidance. It depends on the team a lot. Air Orders are all really good seals. If we get like Ground Orders seal in the future, that'll be really good on making super strong teams. So that's pretty much why they're all like really high up there, but they're definitely more situational. I think Aerobatics and Guidance are very easy staples, whereas Air Orders kind of relies on you to have multiple flyers on the team to get value out of it. Now, Distant Guard and HP Speed are basically seals that make your team more resilient. Speed is like a dual phase seal. It's good for offense pressure and on keeping your unit alive, because speed is a stat that works both ways. And of course, Distant Guard, so your team is more resilient to PvE strategies where people want to like nuke and hit a bunch of stuff. And of course, because like range calves are very prevalent, the blow skills are all really good as upgradable seals here. With that being said, though, I'm going to move on to Arena. So with Arena, first, like, probably what a lot of people have invested into is Flame Emperor, and I feel like Panic Play is a very good seal here. Like, the top seals for Arena are very impactful. Arena's a bit different than AR offense in this regard, where, like, bond skills are actually pretty good, because you can stack stuff like spurs, bonds, and without a problem, like, get as much stats in like a cluttered ball. That's why something like Armor March is also good. That's why Sorcery Blade is also good, because you can actually make use of this stuff. Now, Guidance, Sorcery Blade, and Flashing Blade are situational, and of course Armor March based on the team comp you have. That's why I put them in the middle, because not everyone uses those. I'd say the staple seals are definitely something like Renewal, Chill Speed, Attack Speed, Bond, and Panic Play. Remember that Arena is basically a speed meta now. Like, it's all about having high speed, so that's why I really value Attack Speed, Bond. Any speed bonds or speed buffs in general, Drive Speed isn't here, but it's definitely a good option as well. And yeah, like, Renewal is really good, because someone like Legendary Corrin, if you've managed to merge them, you really need healing off of Renewal so that she can carry multiple matches. A lot of carries follow this criteria. Unless your matchups are very, very, like, single digit kind of close. And I'm talking like attack speed solo also being pretty good on like a Dex Swabber Ninja Hannah. That is like, you can't really afford to run Renewal there. But there's plenty of carries that could afford to run Renewal that are very impactful. Corrin is one of them. She gets tons of stats from her breath and her negating Fang effect. Shield Pulse, and if you have allies, just like with ally support, spurs, and drives, you can afford to run the Renewal seal, and that'll keep her topped off, which makes it a very good seal. Okay, moving on, we do have the final contender for seals that I would recommend, which is PvE. And I don't usually cover PvE, but it's a good time to do so. And with PvE, I'll start off with probably one of the most staple PvE units, which is Celica at +1, but you know, you could definitely upgrade here Brazen Attack Speed 4, for example, and depending on the support, you could definitely run different builds as well, like Special Spiral, AoEs. Those are all things you could do, but she basically selfs her set up. Like, her Ragnarok sets her up by having that residual damage, which sets up your Brazens and Desperations, and of course the ideal seals there are just stuff that give you a lot of damage. So the blow skills, the brazen skills, the solo skills all give you a lot of stats, a lot of offensive stats. It's just basically stacking those offensive stats. But in contrast, of course, if you're running like an AoE character, somebody like Sothe over here, then Life and Death is a really good seal, which has been recently added. I would love to see Fury seal, for example, you know, Wings of Mercy seal. Those would be really cool seals to see. Flashing Blade, and that could be for Gale Force, Quick Repose for tanks, like Brave Ike, for example, or, you know, there's plenty of like situational seals, but I'd say that the most offensive seals tends to be PvE with a big nuker and just getting as much stats out of that as possible. And that just rounds out like the final recommended seals here for PvE, just being like some sort of mobility, aerobatics, guidance, of course, ground orders, if we get that sort of seal, would all still be pretty good for PvE, with additional kind of debuffs or help in the form of drive attack, chill speed, chill defense, chill res, depending on exactly what your nuker is doing. Of course, dancers just want to run that sort of supportive set to make sure your nuker is doing as much damage as possible, which is what, you know, 69 attacks Sothe here obviously could accomplish. Okay guys, so yeah, this basically covers all the seals that I would recommend. I think it was a kind of short and sweet video, but it should get you thinking about where you could definitely spend your sacred coins in the most impactful places. If you aren't playing Arena Assault, then you probably should, because that's where a lot of sacred coins comes from. And yeah, that's pretty much it, folks. Thank you for watching as always. Be sure to give the video a thumbs up if you haven't already. Please let me know if I've probably missed a few Sacred Seals. There's so many now that there's definitely more impactful stuff. I'd consider like drives in their own category, spurs in their own category, and blows. So like if I didn't put darting blow in here, or if for whatever reason you think that's good, just consider that in like its own criteria of the other blow skills. They're more situational. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Sub to the channel if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next one. Much love. Peace.